Hello, welcome back to my reading nook. This is, for what I can foresee, the end of my favorite book to screen, book to film or TV series. Books to Huda! This set of book adaptations are the British/classic type. So mostly it's BBC miniseries. Starting off with the old school list of them, let's start with VHSs. Yes, I still have a working VHS player. VCR, shall we say. What it is Flambards. This collection is so well loved. I've watched it with my family many, many times. Like, it's held together by plastic tape and, it's peeling. But it's a tale of love and woe, and airplanes, weirdly enough. The main character is Christina, and she's pretty great. And then, she's the main female lead. She's pretty proactive for a woman in her time, and it's all about her and her family. She has this horrible uncle. He's the worst. And then there's Mark, who's awful, but kind of redeems himself along the way, and Will, and Dick, and this airplane guy, whose name I don't remember. So, it's very good. It's now on DVD, and I do want to get the DVD set, 'cause it's only like $20, but there is something rather cathartic about watching it on VHS. The quality is, like, I watched some of it the other day, and it's like, wow, this quality is, I should really get the DVD. But for now, we have this. The other VHS set that I have, the reason I still have a VHS set for this is because it's never been put on DVD, and it has Colin Firth in it. What? This I have both the book and the TV series, but I've never read the book because it's very difficult to read. It's by Joseph Conrad, called Nostromo, and my dad has finally finished it after trying to read it like 3 or 4 times, and he has a PhD in English, so it's taken him, like 30 years to get through it, which is pretty difficult. So I have the Penguin Popular Classics edition. I do not like this cover. If I can, I want to get a different version with lots of annotations, if possible. So here is the VHS set of Nostromo. This is definitely BBC. I watched the Colin Firth Pride and Prejudice extras, and he said that he was off filming Nostromo when Pride and Prejudice got really big in England, and then he came back from filming because this is on an island, and he was like this big star and had no idea. So this is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's a mini-series. It's about 6 hours, and the music is beautiful. The show is wonderful. Dialogue is great. Everyone is great. Can I say great any more times? If you have a VCR that works and want to buy a VHS set, watch this. Moving on to current technology. We have The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio and Carey Mulligan by Baz Luhrmann. I love, love, love Baz Luhrmann's movies. Strictly Ballroom is probably my favorite movie of all time, like with Gone with the Wind. This movie is great. I just watched it and taught The Great Gatsby to my Comp 1 class, and they really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it. This is maybe the 3rd or 4th time I've watched it, and it's so good. It's so good. Also, the music is great. I think it works pretty well. So, give it a try. So this is my copy of The Great Gatsby. It's the one that they usually have high school students read. I've read this copy 2 or 3 times now, and I've got, post-its and lots of underlines and stuff. Every time I read it, I find something else to love. It's a great read. You can read it in like a day. So much of the dialogue is taken directly from Fitzgerald's prose. It's really good. My next film, which is based off of Pygmalion, by George Bernard Shaw, which was based off of a story from Ovid long, long ago. I actually wrote a paper about these, the Ovid work Pygmalion, and My Fair Lady, starring Audrey Hepburn and Rex Harrison. I love the song Why Can't the English Teach Their Children How to Speak? Since I have mentioned one Pride and Prejudice, which I do have, that's the BBC miniseries with Colin Firth, which I also like, but I just watched Keira Knightley's Pride and Prejudice, and this is a really good movie, and it was really cool to see a lot of actors that are now pretty prominent, like Rosamund Pike, and Donald Sutherland. I mean, not that he wasn't prominent at the time of this as well. And of course, Dame Judi Dench as Catherine de Bourgh is so fantastic. But very good. This is a great way to get the Pride and Prejudice story in like 2 hours, as opposed to however long the BBC miniseries is. Oh yeah, that Pride and Prejudice is by Jane Austen, if you didn't know. Also by Jane Austen. I do not have a physical copy of the film, but I do have the annotated Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I have a collection of these. They're annotated and edited by David M. Shepard, published by Anchor. I love these editions. The first time I tried to read Pride and Prejudice, I read it, I went through maybe 200 pages without any annotations, and I was just lost. I really hadn't gotten into the greater part of my literature studies yet, so I didn't really know how to read Austen. Then I bought this version, which I should get off of my shelf. I read the second half of Pride and Prejudice of the annotated version, and it just opens all the doors. Like, I love how it's set up, because you have the text of the novel on one page, and on the facing page are all the annotations. Like, every single thing that you would possibly have a question about is explained. Like, what kind of lace is that? What sort of carriage were they driving? So it saves you a lot of work, and it just makes these books so enjoyable. I mean, you don't have to have all the annotations. I just like having them. The annotated Sense and Sensibility, have not actually read this yet. Maybe I will sometime soon. But, you know, it's the same type of deal where, oh, look, a chaise, and they explain what kind of chaise it is. The film adaptation, of which I want to tell you about, is the one with Alan Rickman and Kate Winslet and Emma Thompson and Hugh Grant. I've watched it on Netflix a couple times. Like, Emma Thompson is just unbelievable. Well, she's so believable that she is unbelievable. Check it out. Okay, now to the Tom Hiddleston section, slash Shakespeare section. So, I went to see Coriolanus, the Donmar Theatre live thing through National Theatre Live. They showed it about an hour away from where I live, and a friend of mine and I went, and it was fantastic. We both had intended to read the play before we went to see it. Yeah, that was never going to happen. So we did read the Wikipedia page while we were waiting for the play to begin, and that helped out quite a bit. You know, we knew that Coriolanus was a fighting guy who fought as a general, and it was a really interesting, great production. So here is the original text of Coriolanus, which I have the Royal Shakespeare Company edition. These editions are really great. They have footnotes at the bottom of the pages. I really love footnotes. And I just love these editions are so clean. Like, they all match. I really like these. Although, my professor, she thinks that the footnotes on these are a little wonky. And I have to say, for the Troilus and Cressida ones, there was a lot of syphilis in those footnotes. Here's the original text. And then I was on Amazon, and I found that they put out, so Bloomsbury, I guess, put out an edition of the version of the play that they did. Okay, welcome back to my reading nook again, same video, because my camera decided to shut itself off in the middle of my video, and I've had a costume change because that shirt was making my neck itch really bad. Oh, the Hollow Crown series is based off of Shakespeare! The Riverside edition! This is all of the plays and all of the sonnets and everything Shakespeare. $10 at a used bookstore for all of it. That is, I have seen the ones with Tom in it, Tom Hiddleston, which are Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, and Henry V. These are great productions. They did them for when the London Olympics were held in 2012. as sort of a, like, yay, Britain thing. I had 3 days where 3 exams, and so I would take the exam, come home, watch one of these, and repeat. This has actors other than Tom Hiddleston in it. There is Jeremy Irons, Scar from Lion King, amid many other great roles, one of my favorite voices of all time. Mary from Downton Abbey, I don't know her name, shame on me. The guy who is Q in the latest Bond movie, and of Poirot fame, David Suchet, one of my favorite character portrayals of all time. So, oh, his name is Ben Whishaw. Q from, it's right there. Sorry. Highly recommended. Okay, we are done with Shakespeare now. Now we are into the Benedict Cumberbatch section of this thing. Firstly, two for which I have not read the book. Keira Knightley comes back again with Benedict in The Imitation Game. Just watched this a couple weeks ago with my friends, and we loved it. It was really good. We all want to read the book now. What a sad, well-told story this is. I will never look at an Apple logo the same way, and did not know that this is what that was about. So, HBO's Parade's End. This was so good that I made my parents watch it, and even they liked it. That is a win, because my parents hate everything I watch. It's Benedict Cumberbatch, Rebecca Hall, and then Adelaide Clemens. World War I setting. Benedict plays a guy, and there are ladies involved, these ones, and it's a great series. Last but not least, in fact one of the best performances I've ever seen of anything, is Benedict's slash other guy's name here. I want to say like Tom Miller, but that's probably wrong. The guy who plays Sherlock Holmes in Elementary. John Miller? I'm probably really close or really far off. I don't know. But he and Benedict Cumberbatch did a production of Frankenstein. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley's Frankenstein, and they played on alternating nights the Dr. Frankenstein and the monster. If they ever show that again, like I mean that was already an encore screening because this was like 2011 or something that it was originally filmed, but if they ever do that again, I will totally go. Like, I would drive 2 hours to see that. Oh, that reminds me, I have driven 2 hours to see a production of something. Kenneth Branagh in Macbeth, with my same friend that went to all of these other things with me. It also had, River Song, Alexis Bleedle, I don't know. That's the girl from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Alex Kingston! Yikes! This is probably one of my favorite books that I've ever read, and I tell people, make sure you read this edition, the Norton, because there are 2 editions of Frankenstein. This one, which was published in 1818, then, 15 years later, I think, in 1833, it was republished. This edition was kind of scrapped, and Percy Shelley may or may not have taken over the manuscript, or I mean, he died in the meantime, I think, so Mary felt bad and changed it, or something happened, and a lot of the manuscript's original meaning was changed, like the ending changed. They nearly took out my favorite character, Henry, who's like my favorite part of this. That was a rather rambly, strange video, with a costume change in the middle, and camera shutting off issues. Oh yeah, I officially graduated! That accomplishment means nearly nothing until I have a real job. But thank you for watching. I'm shutting up now. Oh wait, books to Huda! Of whom I had never heard before. I tried to not end that with a preposition, and then I end up, of whom before I have never heard? Is that how I should have said that?